What's up, Pokemon fans? And today I have a very special video for you guys. Today I will be doing a deck analysis on the cards that I used for California States. And if you guys didn't know, California States were on the Queen Mary, which we have, I believe, every year, and it was awesome. And I'm going to show you the deck that I ran. I mean, I already did a few changes to it because I went to League and stuff, but I'll tell you the changes, and why I changed it and the reason for the changes. And so yeah, I'll tell you, I believe there was 257 players, and I placed 72, which really wasn't that good, but there was a lot of great decks out there. And most of the losses I did have were from just negligence on my part. Just I wanted to get that easy win, and I didn't really scope out the field, got catchered or got Mewtwo'd. But there really was one time where I just it was just total domination of on my opponent's part, and that was versus the Plasma Clanks and the Califonia EXs. That he just had a great start, continued and just destroyed me. But this is the deck I run, and it's a Ray Eels deck, kind of a modified. Looking back on it, there was a lot of counters to it, or a lot of text that I put into this deck that probably shouldn't have gone in there. But the deck that I have now, I'm a little bit more happier, and I wish I would have ran this instead. But there's still a lot of changes I want to do to it. So to start off, I'm going to start off with the basic Pokemon that I had. I run a four Tamnos, so that's pretty much a given. So I run 4 of those with the 4 Electrike, just to make sure, just to boost up consistency, and to make sure that if 1 is prized or 2 is prized, I still have 2 more in my deck. And so that's my Tamino line, 4 and 4, which I think is a great way to have. And then as my Rays, I used to run 4 Rays, but now I run 3. And the reason for that is later in the game I found that I would draw dead to a Rayquaza when I could have used that to draw into Supporter, or I could have used that to draw into an N or a catcher. So I found that 3 seems a lot better than running 4, the 4 line. So that's my Ray. And a new addition that I got, and I found that it works great on, is Victini X. I mean, the 110 HP is kind of garbage, but I always pull this guy out first turn, and if I don't, I Ultra Ball for him or computer search for him, just because of that Turbo Energize. The Turbo Energize is, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'll read it out to you guys. It's search your deck for 2 basic energy cards, attach them to your bench Pokemon any way you like it, shuffle your deck afterwards. And if you guys don't know, Ray Eel decks, they run maybe 5 energies, 5 fire energies at most. And to have Victini out first turn, Turbo Energize, I mean, I use 1 fire energy, but I'll Turbo Energize, be able to put a fire energy and maybe an electric energy on a Ray, a benched Ray. Second turn, I can be hitting for 120, but during the games, I was actually hitting for 180 in EX Knockout, which was great for this Victini. And the only reason I don't put him out is if I'm going against a Blastoids Keldeo deck. But it's kind of hard in the beginning of the game. I was like, well, I'll give him the 2 prize cards to have a fully powered up Ray and just keep destroying everything he summons out. So that's why I chose Victini EX, just for that Turbo Energize, and it has not failed me. Like, I always start off with them. And my next one is Ray from Dragon Bolt, or Shiny Ray as everybody else knows him. And it's a great card when you're going against Sigilyph decks, just because Shred goes through anything. And Garbodor decks, except Garbodor is kind of like, when I go against the Garbodor deck, those not item locks, but the ability locks. My God, I am like stalled. I'm just there, just slowly drawing into stuff. But this guy, 2 turns, can take out a Garborder, but I mean, if they have one, I guarantee they're going to be wearing a rescue scarf to bring him back. So I just have this one for the Sigaliths. I haven't seen any Sigaliths in a while, so I might replace his Ray and have something more like what's it called? That Victini, the V-Create, which I did have. I used to run 2 of these. I took one out and put that V-Create one just to go against those Plasma Clanks. I mean, it worked out. I took out a freaking Califonia X with 1 attack, but next turn he just destroyed me. I had no more Super Rods to bring back any Victini, so I was just there, and then he just slowly destroyed me from there. But might change him, might not. I want to see how the Plasma Clank decks go. See if they're gonna be there for a while. They're gonna stick. Just because this is a pretty good card. I mean, Shred 90 for 3 energies kind of sucks, but it isn't affected by any. The damage isn't affected by any effects on the defending Pokemon. So you can have Eviolite, they can have Boofer, they can have all this stuff, and I can still shred through it. And my next Pokemon was Mewtwo EX, which is pretty much a staple in any deck, just because the X Ball. And I've powered up this Mewtwo to like do a ton of damage before, and the only thing that sucks is all they need is another Mewtwo to counter. So Mewtwo counter Mewtwo. That's pretty much it. So I might take this Mewtwo out because I haven't seen Mewtwo's being played as much. I've seen them in the big decks like Landorus, Trekion, and Mewtwo with like that new accelerant which was Ether Dex, which is great. I've seen it getting played. I mean, I thought I was going to lose the one, but I was able to power up just in time to keep taking out his Landoruses. But yeah, might take the Mewtwo out, might not, just because it's a very powerful card. I mean, in the beginning of the turn, I could actually donk almost anything. So, because 20, 60, unless you have like a 70, a Stabilize, God, I hate those things. So you're like so close, but Stabilize lives by 10. But that's why I have the Mewtwo, just Mewtwo counter. In case they have a Mewtwo, destroy my card, summon out a Mewtwo, Dynamotor, has enough for the X-Ball, take it out. So, that's why I carry the Mewtwo, but I might not carry it. And the next card, which was a Keldeo EX, and I love this card right now, just because of the Hypnotoxic lasers that are out there. And Hypnotoxic is everywhere. It is dominating this format. And I think with this Keldeo and its Russian ability is just great. On top of that, it can do a little bit more damage on Landorus decks, which I love, because Landorus 1 energy to do 30-30. It literally destroys my Temnos if I have them out first turn. So if I have Keldeos, I have a little bit something more to take them out. I mean, I know it's still going to take me like a 2-turn KO to do a Secret Sword, because it only does 50 times 2 weakness is 100, so I do have to attack them twice. But it gives me a fighting chance to go against them, because once they see this out in the field, they're like, oh god, like, this guy's running Keldeos. And then on top of that, if Keldeo is my first Pokemon, or my only Pokemon in my hand, and my opponent sees that, it could be like, I don't know, a quick troll. Like, they'll be like, okay, cool, I'm going against the Keldeo Blastoids, and then all of a sudden they see Ray Eels, and they're like, whoa, wasn't thinking that. So it's a good, like, tech, just for switching, for those Hypnotoxics, and I'll show you why I added him, but that does it for my Pokemon, and next is going to be my trainers, just regular trainers. So trainers pretty much makes up my entire deck. So let me move the Charizard over, and Ultra Balls, I believe I run 2. Let me see what happened to the... Oh, there they are. They're stuck together. So I run 2 Ultra Balls. I want to max set at 4, just because that guarantees me to get whatever I want. And Ultra Balls are just a staple pretty much in any deck. And I like it because you discard 2 cards. Well, I'll just discard 2 electric energies, and then Dynamotor them from back. So there's a lot of, like, movement when I use my deck. So when I do Ultra Balls, it's great. Just get the cards I want, get it quick, get it fast, and attack. And the next thing I have are Sky Arrow Bridges, and these things like save my life at every tournament that I go to, just because of that basic Pokemon have one retreat cost less, and as you guys know, like Rays have one retreat cost. So does Victini EX, and Mewtwo, it still has two, but it has one. It'll become one when I have it. So it's not too bad. Sky Arrow helps out a lot. So I have two in case they tropical beach me, or that new Burbank City gym. I mean, I can always have these out. So you destroy one, I have another one left. So two seems to be a right amount, just because anything more kind of just gets in the way. And sometimes when I do have my stadium out and I draw dead to them later on in the turn, but it's alright. I mean, in the long run, it's better to have two than to have like one and just have it get destroyed and have no way to bring it back. So my next deck is a Tool Scraper. I think everyone should have a Tool Scraper in their deck, just because of those Garbodors. I have gotten that Garbodor. It was a Garbodor Durant deck that cost me Battle Roads. I went 6-0, and it was a top cut. I was going against the 4th place guy. It was a top 4, yeah. I got one against the the 4th place guy, Durant and Garbodor. I couldn't do anything. He just ability locked me and devoured my deck 2 times and knocked me out. That was the worst loss of my life. 6-0, and then he just destroys me with a Durant. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So that's why I have a Tool Scraper. I'm never going to remove a Tool Scraper, just because I was just drawing dead. Drew dead to like evolutions. I mean, I had 3 Electrics, all willing to do Dynamotor, but he had a Garbodor, and he was just ability locking me, devouring for 4, and it just destroyed my deck. So that's why I carry a Tool Scraper. And on top of that, just with those Bouffalants that might have that Eviolite on it, just be able to take them out. So next up, I have my 2 Super Rods, and I use the Super Rods to bring back anything that I've lost, including Fire Energies, because you can bring back in any combination of 3 Pokemon and basic energies. So when, let's say I get all my Fire Energies are done, I have one Super Rod to bring them back, bring at least 3 back, or my Electrics get destroyed, I can at least bring it back 1 set and then the Fire Energy. But mostly I have these for my Fire Energies. I'm not really worried about Electrics and Tamnos, just because I run that 4/4 line. And just in case one of these is prized, I still have another one. So 2 is very good to use. And on top of that, I'm like a heavy gambler when it comes to Ray's Celestial Roar. Celestial Roar is discard the top 3 cards of your deck. If they're energies, attach them to this Pokemon. But when I do it, I tend to not get any energies. So what I like to do is just thin out my deck a little and just bring everything that I need back with these guys. So that's why I have it in there. And my next 3 cards, which I think are amazing, are Level Balls. Level Balls, just greatest cards ever in this deck. Just because it lets me search for a Pokemon with 90 HP or less. I can have pretty much first turn Time Demo, and then Electrike getting ready to do his Dynamotor next turn. Just because they both are under 30, or 90, sorry. And it's just 1 energy. So the way I see it is like these guys count as my Tamnos and Electrics later on in the game. And they're perfect running 3. I ran 1 before, horrible. I ran 1 and 4 Ultra Balls. It didn't really work. Did 2 and 3, did a little better, but as soon as I used 3 like pretty much guaranteed me to get 1 during my first turn, because I destroy tons of cards in my deck. So to run 3 is just perfect. Just right there, I can at least, when I have 2, which is even better, because I can just get 2 Tamnimo, and then either discard my hand or